Yo, let's get straight into it. D4C, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Yourself?
Yeah, man. Glad to have you on the show, brother. First time on Hope Jams. Yeah, just glad to be chatting with you, man. And your new album is here, so tell us, man. Like, how did you put this one together?
Well, I actually had the idea for the album Next Chapter, maybe 7 years ago, and I've just always put it to the back and just put other stuff out over the time. But I went through a major depressed state and everything over the last couple of years, and I was just I kind of just got this epiphany that I was like, man, I need to turn the page and turn to the next chapter. And I was like, nah, it's time to pull out the whole idea of Next Chapter and just pour my heart into it and just use music to, I guess, get myself out of the rut. So yeah, it's turned out perfect. So it's great.
Wow, man. So I guess it's one of those albums that is straight from the heart kind of thing. Like, you've got the emotion tugging that in there as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. So for those of people that are just kind of learning D4C, obviously, who is D4C, man? Like, how did you get into the music scene?
It's kind of funny how I got. Oh, it's not really funny how I got into it, but I kind of fell into it. When I was in my early 20s, I was married and I was really high up, getting myself to be a professional basketball player. And pretty much in the same week period, I found out my wife at the time was cheating on me and ran off with another guy. And then I tore my ACL in one of my knees. So it kind of shattered both dreams, the happy wife, happy life type dream, the picket fence marriage type thing, that just got shattered. And then the basketball career kind of just got put on hold for a long time. So I've always mucked around and played around with music. And yeah, I just put a song on YouTube, and it kind of just, people went, you got to keep doing this, you got to keep doing this. So yeah, I just continued on, and it's been 10 years now. So I'm still going.
Nice one, man. And then your faith as well, was that always intertwined, or was that found at some point?
Oh yeah, definitely. Always intertwined. Yeah, I'm one of those lucky people that grew up with a Christian family. So, and it wasn't until all this real bad stuff happened that I kind of realized I kind of took the Christian journey for granted, because for me it was normal, and I'd never really had anything negative or bad happen in my life until that moment. And that, I went through the whole stages of depression and wanting to have bad thoughts of ending my life and all that kind of thing. And then it was through music that God used me to get up out of that as well. So that's why music to me is amazing, because it's pulled me out of so many bad situations.
Yeah, man. And now you're married again. You got children as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason my first wife actually went off and started sleeping around, because since the age of 21 I was told I couldn't have kids. So she was trying to have kids with other people, I guess. And when I got remarried 6-7 years ago, we got told the same thing, that we couldn't have kids. So we had to go through the whole IVF process and fork out a lot of money. But we've got two miracles that I was told I was never meant to have, and couldn't be happier.
Wow, man. Well, that's a blessing in itself, man. And that, what I mean? You come the journey, and it's come almost like a full circle, I guess, because you probably at that early stage in your life, maybe when you get that information, you know what I mean? And then now you're to the point where you've got your family, and you've got a faithful wife, hopefully. So you know what I mean? Brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Oh man, so tell us more, because you're also involved with, like I was telling you off air, we had Genesis on the show, and I've had him on a couple of times, and he's telling me about, he's part of the Commission, which is a kind of like a group of artists, not specifically hip hop. It could be all different artists, but you kind of all of bond together, and you all have the same kind of mission statement for Jesus in terms of your music, and you all kind of work together, definitely. Right? And you're part of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was I wouldn't say I'm one of the original people that were in it, but when I first got introduced to Genesis, he just invited me to come down to his album launch and perform. So I drove down to Sydney and did just for the day, just to perform. And we got to talking, and he's like, man, we realized we had the same vision. So at that time, I think there was 3 people that were really up in the Commission. But then he asked myself and Tim Turner, who's up here in Queensland as well, to be a part of it. And we're still going strong. And it's been great. Yeah, it's just a bunch of artists and musicians, and even just people that want to do something for ministry and for the kingdom, we get together, we fellowship, we disciple each other, whether it's on Facebook or if we actually finally get together, because we all live in different parts of Australia. But yeah, no, it's great. We just help each other, push out each other's music. We give each other like tips and feedback on anything that we're working on. So yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, man. And then in terms of the other concept of kind of group people that we were talking about, Crosswords, how do they kind of fit in? Are they their own separate kind of place or group?
Yeah, it's a separate ministry that we're all really close with, and they do a lot in like the hip hop community, where the breakdancers, the graffiti artists, the poets, or the the inspirational type spoken word. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so they all like get together, and we do like this big. It's kind of like a conference called Uprock that happens like once a year, and we have like artists and breakdancers and all that from all over Australia. Not all over Australia. Yeah, all over Australia, but also from different parts of the world. Like we'll have like Tokyo b-boys and American graffiti artists and all that kind of thing that's come along, and really just do a massive thing for speaking the language that the youth speak, not rather just like a Hillsong conference where it's like I could go out and do what Hillsong's doing around the corner from my house, and people won't understand anything that's going on. But if we go around the corner and do like a concert with like music, hip hop, and b-boy dancers and all that kind of stuff, we're speaking the language of the youth. So that's what we like to do. Yeah,
man. I feel that. That's a cool thing, man. I think I have heard of Uprock before, actually. It's a cool thing. But that whole idea, that kind of thing of doing it, like whether or not it's like a block party or not, but that image of doing it for the streets, it's a dope thing, man. All right, man. So
it's cool.
Tell us, man, what's happening with the music? So you just released the album, and then you said like this is the build up, this is something you've had in the bank for a long time, but you haven't got around to doing. So is this like you just pushing this for next year? Like is this your first proper album that you've kind of put your heart and soul into?
No, I've done quite a lot of albums that I've put everything into, but this is the one where I've been more vulnerable. Like I've actually just because I've always tried to be the real positive type artist. But this one, I just had to let out a lot of, negativity that was inside my head, just to go through the motions of like all this negative stuff. But then it was Jesus that picked me up. So, I've had the idea of the album for a good couple of years, but I think there's like 2 songs on there that I wrote actually like 7 years ago, and I've just like made it better with like flows and everything like that. But yeah, everything else was just ideas in the last like year or so that really just went with the album, because I actually made 28 songs for the album, so I only released 12. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff just sitting there on my hard drive in my computer. So
is there anybody you want to shout out for like you've had on there, either as a like producer or features or anything like that?
Oh yeah, well I've got my boy Genesis on there. Genesis and I work a lot together. I do all the mixing and mastering and all that kind of stuff for the commission artists. So Genesis and I work a lot together. Who else have we got on there? There's a lot of just commission artists like Double T, which is Tim Turner, Johnny 316, who's a new guy that we've just teamed up with in the last year or 2, and that dude is absolutely amazing. Then I've got like Army Regime from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh yeah.
And he's insanity. Like that dude. I met him in 2009, and I've just kept in contact ever since. And the growth that he's had is incredible. So
yeah, man. I think he was on a track with Genesis, wasn't he, just recently?
Yeah, he just did a I was meant to be on that song too. I'm still bitter about that, Genesis, if you're listening. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun in the last year or 2.
Cool, man. All right, man. Where can people go grab you, man? Social media, and also to get the album.
Instagram and Facebook. If you just like do the @ symbol and then D4C Music, you can find me anywhere. I've got a website which is www.413records.com. 413 is numbers, 413, which actually stands for Philippians 4 verse 13, which is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's kind of what is the sole base of my music, the heart of it all. Any other links are on Facebook, so it's probably the easiest one to go to.
Nice one, man. And the album's available everywhere?
Yeah, everywhere. Streams, like Spotify. It's going nuts on Spotify, which is crazy. iTunes, and I've also got like hard copy CDs on my website.